Hey, what's up, y'all? Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course. As you can see from the title of this video, I want to talk about Carlos King actually calling out Married to Medicine for allegedly pitting the talent against each other. And then, of course, he talks some Real Housewife shows having a mob mentality. Okay, yes, he did go there. And also, he and Mariah, they talked Melody Shari. So let's definitely get into it. I'm going to talk about some things that they said during this interview that dropped today on Carlos King's channel. And then I'm going to take us back to 2020 with something that Carlos King said to Melody and Dr. Heavenly on Dr. Heavenly's YouTube channel. So let's get into it. Now, before we do, I ask that you all please hit the like button on this video, or even if you were to hit the dislike button, both of those work the same. YouTube will push this video out through its algorithm and recommend this video to more people who love to converse about all these various topics that come about from Love and Marriage Huntsville. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit. I would definitely appreciate it. And of course, the Copyright Act of 1976 says that my fair use commentary on these sound bites are allowed for criticism. And everything that I'm saying here is my opinion and alleged. All right. So this first soundbite is about Mariah and Carlos. They've been talking about how on Married to Medicine, Mariah was pushed out and, what they've done to Quad during its current season 10. So I'd like to give very general, high-level intros into the sound bites. Then after you hear them, I come back with my commentary. Here we go.
They humble her. In their minds, they want to humble her a bit, bring her down a few notches. They haven't pushed Quad out, and I don't think they're going to. I think it's game.
But why is that? Because listen, on my shows, there isn't this, and I want you to stop me if I'm wrong. On Married to Medicine, which I have done plenty of interviews, and I always get asked, if you could do one show, produce one show, I always said the Braxtons or Married to Medicine.
Yeah, I can see it.
And please give me Married to Medicine. Like, I look, he was mad you didn't give me the show. But
I was
still like a whippersnapper.
You know what? It ain't too late.
Because I was like, my hands on these girls, I would love it. But it seems to me like that show is ran in a way that I've never seen or experienced, to where it's like there's people behind the scenes pitting you girls against each other, and that there isn't anybody saying like, you know what, that's not right.
Yeah.
And I'm a grown-ass woman, I'm educated, I'm going to do what I want to do.
And that's not the way I roll.
Is that the environment of that show?
I think so. I think they've created such a hostile environment with so much dissension that it scares me that they can't. I hope that they can find their way back to just being authentic. Because if they're just all authentic, whether people love them or hate them, they will still watch them. But they're becoming too typecast to me. Like Jackie and Heavenly Friends. And I just see so many things that it's what the producers want versus what's natural to the ladies. To me, that's my perspective. That's my perception of all of it.
Is it?
Okay, so you all heard Carlos King. Now, did y'all notice that when he was trying to compare his shows on OWN to Married to Medicine, he started to say, because on my shows, well, look, you stop me and correct me if I'm wrong. On Married to Medicine, it seems like there are people behind the scenes pitting the women against each other. So he started to say, I'm guessing, just in my opinion, he was going to try and say that on his shows, that does not take place. And he knew that us content creators would have just eat him up had he said that, because he knows that all of us see how it was all about a gang up led by Martell to turn the rest of the cast of Love and Marriage Huntsville against Melody Shari. So I just find it so laughable, so hilarious, the way that Carlos he sees clearly to other reality TV shows, but he's totally got the blinders on when it comes to his own shows that his own company, Kingdom Reign, produces. So I definitely wanted to share that with you all. And, what do you all think about reality TV and the role of the producer? Like, we know that producers, they ask questions to kind of guide the confessionals to get, sound bites for the confessionals. We know obviously they suggest or set up scenes between certain people to generate certain conversations. But do you think that they are explicitly pitting adults against each other? In a perfect world, of course, I would hope that that is not happening. But if it is, and he'd call it out on Married to Medicine, is Married to Medicine that extraordinary or that unique or that rare that only Married to Medicine is the only reality TV show where people behind the scenes are pitting the talent against each other? I don't think so. If that's the thing on that show, I'm sure it's happening on all or most reality TV shows. What do you think? So then this next soundbite that I want to get into, it is about him speaking his mind on some reality TV shows actually having a mob mentality.
Put the ego aside and do what's best for the show.
But they didn't do. Did they do that with me?
They did, and I told. So what you don't know, I don't think you know this.
No, I don't.
Heavenly during quarantine. Mm-hmm. That's when Heavenly started her YouTube channel.
Okay.
And
which was smart.
Yeah,
okay.
And she invited me on, and Melody at the time was Melody Huq from Love and Marriage.
Who I love. Met her one time, but I love her.
No, Melody's great. She's a great girl. And this is before any announcement came about you coming back or not. Mm-hmm. I said to her, y'all can watch it. I said, let me tell you something. I feel like, and I'm paraphrasing, but I feel like you're icing Mariah out. Listen to me now. Don't you ever do anything that's not good for the show. Don't do it. Because I've done a lot of Housewives.
Yeah.
And I saw sometimes they were going down that road of, well, we don't, and I would say to them, you don't cast and you don't fire. Your job is to sit there, be real, tell your real story, and film. Mm-hmm. What's happening now in Unscripted is this mob mentality.
It is.
I'm seeing it on Salt Lake City. I'm seeing it on Potomac. It's like, you need to go.
Yeah.
And what they do is they ice you out. I haven't seen it the way Married to Medicine has done it to you or to Quad. And what's interesting,
they haven't done the same thing to Quad that they have to.
Yeah. No, it's definitely separate. No, it's definitely separate. But
it's not the same.
Right. No, and I wasn't trying to make it the same. Just in terms of what we as the audience have felt.
Okay. So yes, there he goes again, speaking on the Bravo shows, calling them out, but totally, where's the accountability on the toxicity that is on Love and Marriage Huntsville? So yeah, of course, the cast knows they cannot try and ice out Melody Shari. They can't try to say they're not going to film with her because they know that the overwhelming majority of the viewers are in support of Melody Shari. So they don't do that. But they do meddle and poke at her in different ways, Carlos. Just like with the bringing on of Basement Billy, knowing that there is that distance, that very important distance between he and Miss Van. Just to gang up with her and everyone getting mad at her and turning on her and saying horrible things that Martell has pumped into their heads, like Destiny at the reunion, trying to insinuate that Melody cheated when she was married. So they may not ice out Melody, but they get on one person's side and totally agree with the narratives that he tries to put out about her. And that is, in my opinion, a form of bullying. And that is a hostile work environment, which Mariah has touched on in this interview. So I just wonder, like, when he hears words like some of his own words, like mob mentality or bullying or hostile work environment, does he feel a sense of guilt? Does he get a little uncomfortable? And if he does, then that would mean that, perhaps he knows he hasn't done Melody Shari right. But kudos to Mariah. She said, I love Melody. I only met her once, but I love her. They both have that movers and shakers, go get them, confident aura about them. So I could totally see Mariah and Melody feeling each other. They should totally collaborate. That would be awesome. So I want to get into this next soundbite from this interview between Mariah Huq and Carlos King on Carlos's YouTube channel, where they talk about spinoffs. So the intro into this soundbite is Mariah actually said, that Quad is a breakout star. She agreed with Carlos. She said that after Quad's marriage ended, Bravo should have given her a spinoff where we saw her rebuild her life as a single woman. We see her dating. She said, and then if the spinoff didn't work, then so be it. But they should have totally done that, and it still would have been a connection to Married to Medicine. So then this is what Carlos had to say after Mariah gave that input.
Because one thing that I want the world to know is this. I create shows for a living. When you create a show in the network, there's language, if you know how to do your contracts right, where you have the right to have spinoffs.
Yeah.
Meaning create spinoffs based on the ensemble.
Yeah.
If you were still a part of Married to Medicine, would you have created a spinoff for Quad? And if so, what would that spinoff be?
So, it may not have been the first spinoff. I would have spent off Married to Medicine in other cities. I absolutely would have done that because I think it's a medical hub in Houston for minorities, a lot of places that it just, it would have catapulted. But for Quad, I think I would have did just some simple. Back to the basics, finding love, or her just being her fun. She's a fun girl. She's a fun girl. I think I would have just showed her outside of the group. It almost seems like it's starting to take away from her. To me, knowing her at the show and like Married to Medicine when she started, I think it was big.
Okay, so you all heard Carlos say that when it comes to spinoffs, when you set up your contracts, and then he looked into the camera during the interview, he says, if you know how to work your contracts right, he says, but in your contracts, you can actually set it up to where you can have spinoffs. And so the question that I had in my head was, well, which contract, Carlos, or for whose section of that contract? Is it for the talent? Is it for the talent / creator of the show, who would be Melody Shari when it comes to LAMH? Or is that some clause for the production company that's producing the reality TV show? Do they get the right to produce spinoffs? Exactly who is the person that gets the right to produce the spinoffs? Now, of course, I am no lawyer and I've never owned a production company. So I am strictly 100% just speaking my heart, my opinion. I feel like the person who the show was their brainchild, their intellectual property, their creativity, they should be able to have some sort of write-in on that spinoff, some sort of royalty check, some sort of incentive, because that original baby was their idea. And that brings me to this next soundbite, going back to 2020, when we were in a Carnival 19, the country was shut down. Dr. Heavenly, I remember Dr. Heavenly and Nene Leakes, they used to go live every day. And so Dr. Heavenly, she interviewed Melody Shari. She interviewed her like 3 times. And this time was, I want to say, the first one. And Carlos actually joined the live. And, Melody was like so happy. She had this idea about spinoffs. So she posed the question to Carlos, and this is what he had to say. we all heard Melody ask Carlos, will he do a spinoff of Love and Marriage Huntsville? She said that people were asking her about it. They wanted to see it in other cities. And Dr. Heavenly was supporting her. She said, you go, girl, get your coins, producer girl, and then Carlos was like, oh yeah, he was very like calm about it. Like, oh yeah, and it has to be the right city and the right people, so he totally, to me, when he said the right city, the right people, he was already trying to say, whatever ideas you have, I'll have to okay them and I'm going to give input. And I already have my ideas on cities and people. And then, Melody Shari, she is like a marketing genius. She uses her social media to constantly promote her businesses, her master class for property preservation, as well as her Seventh Avenue skincare. I think that it's genius, and she's very consistent with it. So when I never saw her promoting the Love and Marriage spinoffs, I knew deep down, I knew that they were not letting her in on that executive producer or creator credit, and allowing her to earn that extra money that, in my opinion, she deserves. And so I just find it so interesting that, today he spoke with Mariah about, if you know how to work your contract, then you'll have the right to spinoffs. But did you work Melody Shari's contract the right way? Did you do right by her? That's really is like what's on my heart after watching his interview with Mariah. So I wanted to share those sound bites with you all, the ones that really spoke to me that I thought were significant. And thank you so much for watching this video. I always appreciate the support. Please hit the like button on this video. And just please let me know, what did you think about, those things that he talked about with the mob mentality on some reality TV shows and the talent being pitted against each other. I definitely love it when you all analyze the content as well, and the things that we listen to, the sound bites. And I just want to say, last night, I was saying, for a week and a half, it has not snowed, but I'm bracing it because we're just heading into February. We still have a little ways to go. And do y'all know today, this morning, it started snowing, and it snowed like quite a few inches. But the guy who does like he cuts my grass in the summer, shovels my snow in the winter, he was able to get to it this afternoon, honey, right when it ended. So I'm super thankful for him. And if I needed to, I could get in and out, but it was looking so nasty out there. I have not left. I have not left the crib. So I hope that you all had a terrific Tuesday. If it was a little rough for you, I'm sorry to hear that, but tomorrow will be much better. We are all going to have a wonderful Wednesday. All right. And I will talk with y'all soon. Bye.